In the coming hours, 50 Auschwitz survivors will join world leaders, royalty and dignitaries on the 80th anniversary of the concentration camp's liberation. More than 1.1 million people were murdered by Nazis at the site in southern Poland before Soviet troops freed the remaining prisoners. An Australian delegation will attend the commemorations, and our Europe correspondent Ben Downey has filed this report.
Well, it's nearly 80 years to the day. These camps behind me were emptied, freed by the Allies of the barely 7,000 survivors of the more than 1 million Jews who were murdered here at Auschwitz. World leaders are gathering here for the anniversary, witnessing the evidence like shoes, luggage, prosthetics and Zyklon B canisters, reminders of the horrors that took place behind these fences, born from anti-Semitism that's once again on the rise around the world, even at home, with 117,000 strong Australian Jewish population enduring a spate of attacks, including arson and graffiti. The Federal Police revealing 15 of the 166 reported incidents since December are being funded from overseas.
We all must stand against anti-Semitism whenever and wherever we see it. These attacks are not just an attack on the Jewish community, they are that. But they're actually an attack on who we are as Australians.
The global climate of hate making tomorrow's ceremony important now more than ever.
Ben, thank you. And we're joined this afternoon by one of Australia's last living Holocaust survivors, Eddy, who turned 85 yesterday. Mr. Boas, thanks so much for joining us. You were just a child when your family was put in a German concentration camp, but you want to be known as a survivor, not a victim.
Absolutely. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. I survived the horribles of Bergen-Belsen concentration camp as a 4 or 5 year old, and I'm surviving what's happening in Australia today.
And just on that point, Mr. Boas, considering the events both here in Australia and right around the world at the moment, why do you think it's more important than ever we remember these atrocities and learn lessons?
Well, I can only give... I was born in Holland, in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands for hundreds of years welcomed Jews with open arms, like my family that lived in, both my mother's and my father's families that lived in Holland for over 200 years. When the Nazis came around, that suddenly changed. The Dutch population turned
Mr. Boas,
on...
Sorry, keep going.
No, and the Dutch population turned on the Jews all of a sudden.
So for you, Mr. Boas, we've even had reports today of more neo-Nazi attacks both here and overseas. Do you think we have learnt anything from the Holocaust?
No, I don't think we have learned anything at all. 6 million people, which includes all my family except for my mother, my father and myself and my brother, but everybody else in my mother's and father's families were murdered during that period. And here, letting these marches go on every week shows that the government has no idea how to stop it. The federal government I'm talking about.
And in regards to what you and your family experienced many years ago, why do you think it's important that we commemorate this?
Well, 6 million Jews were killed. Could have been, and 1 million gypsies were killed as well. And people from the gay community, many of thousands of them were murdered. You know, nobody was killed, everybody was murdered. And we should remember that because we should never let it happen again. And what's happening today around the world with the universities, the way they carry on, and what governments allow in certain countries, like this country, will only lead to more unrest and more anti-Semitism.
Mr. Boas, for you, what do you think? Obviously, it's a very complicated problem, but what do you think are some of the things both the federal and state governments can do to create greater unity?
Well, first of all, stop those marches. All the marches are doing attract young people who want to go with the mob. The mob gets hold of them and converts them to anti-Semites. Stop those marches altogether. It's been long enough. And if you talk to the average Australian, they all say the same thing. So I don't know who's in charge of it, the federal or the state government, but I think the federal government should make a law that all that is not allowed.
Mr. Boas, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.